thanks for joining me today out here in Vegetable Garden. We're now in the month of June. It's a nice overcast day. You know, the overcast days are nice out here in the garden because the hot sun doesn't stress out the plants. In fact, we just had some nice heavy rains within the last week here in Pennsylvania, Zone 6. And so that rain was a nice heavy soaker, and it really watered the plants really nice. So the Q&A for today is, where do you buy the fabric that is covering the large hoops, and how big is it? As you can see in my background there, I have two low tunnel hoop houses. They're 4 feet wide and 3 feet high. You know, using low tunnel hoop houses in your garden, there's huge benefits. You know, they protect you from the frost and the wind, and it also offers organic insect control. In fact, here's a piece of this polyester fabric that I use in my garden, and it allows air to pass through, the rain can pass through, you can water right through with your hose, and so they're really beneficial in your garden. I always encourage gardeners to be proactive in the beginning of their garden season. Spend a little bit of time, a little bit of money, and set up these row covers, and that way you're not constantly dealing with pests in your garden. Having hoop houses in your garden also allows you to start your garden season a little bit earlier, because it offers some frost protection, and also later into the season it allows you to grow your plants longer. And so there's certainly a lot of benefits to having them in your garden. In fact, when we had those last heavy rains, the fabric was able to protect some of those little plants from washing away. We also have the cabbage butterfly here in Pennsylvania, Zone 6. It's that yellow whitish butterfly that you see flying around your garden. So what they do is they lay eggs under all your brassica plants, like your kale and your broccoli and your cabbage, all those in your brassica family. And so they're very destructive to all your brassica plants. They chew holes in all the leaves and really weaken the whole plant. I also plant my broccoli under my low tunnel hoop houses, and my broccoli and my kale. Also behind me I have my red beets, but they just flourish under those protected environments. I also have videos on how to install your low tunnel hoop houses. If you go to my homepage on YouTube and search low tunnel hoop houses or row covers, and I should have at least 4 videos come up showing you how easily it is to install these row covers. So for me personally, I order my row covers from Rainflow Irrigation. I order the Pro 19, it's a 0.56 ounce per square yard fabric, and it allows 85% light transmission. These are rather large rolls. They're 10'6" by 500 feet long. They're called Cover Tan. It's a part number 115-19. Now you may find that's too large of a roll, but you know, that roll cost me around $85 if you go to their website, and then you have some delivery on top of that. But for me, that 500-foot roll lasts me 3 to 4 years. So earlier this morning I went and picked some of this curly leaf kale from underneath my row cover, and you can just see how beautiful it is. I mean, the leaves are gorgeous, has a nice thick stem on them, and so they were well protected under the row cover. There's not one hole in these leaves from those cabbage butterfly. You could go online and search for row covers. Another website I have bought seed from in the past, it's Johnny Selected Seeds, and they have an Agribon fabric. It's 10 foot by 50 feet long. It's $20.72. I'm sure there's some shipping included, but there's certainly a lot of garden supply stores online where you could do your research. Also, these fabrics come in different thicknesses, and so the thicker they are, the more frost protection they're going to offer you. Also, they're going to probably last a few more seasons than the lighter fabric. So now I wanted to cover the question, how big is the fabric that is covering those large hoops? And so I got my measuring tape. So my raised beds are 48 inches wide, and so my hoops, I took my tape from the soil to the top of the hoop. It was 36 inches, and then from along the whole top of the hoop, like if you were following along the top of a rainbow, I had 8'6" along the top, and then you always want to allow a little bit on each side, say around 6 inches or more for some sort of weighted object. I've also seen gardeners bury their edges into the soil if they dug a shallow trench and bury them on each side, but I typically like to use bricks, or you could use sandbags or any weighted objects so that you could easily take off your fabric in order to access your kale or your different plants underneath your row cover. So on my hoop, it was 8'3" approximately, and then 6 inches on each side. That means it's around, I would need at least a 9'3" piece. And so that piece of fabric that I got from Rainflow was 10'6" wide. So that gave me a little extra on each side. So you can roll it up and put your heavy object on there. So you want to make sure you do your math by measuring along the top of the hoop and then allowing on both sides, and then do some research online to make sure you can find the right size fabric for depending on how wide your hoops are. Now maybe your garden bed is not 4 feet wide, it's only 3 feet wide or 2 feet wide, so they have fabric that's not quite as wide to suit your different needs. Now, how long of a piece do I need? Well, say you have a raised bed, or your garden bed's 10 feet long, and then each side is, say, 3 feet high on each side. So, and then you want about at least 6 inches on each side, each end, in order to weigh it down. So you have 3'6" on each side, so that's 7 feet plus 10. So you would want to, so you'd have a total of 17 inches, or I'm sorry, 17 feet that you would need a total length in order to cover that whole hoop house. Also on Johnny Selected Seeds, there's all kinds of accessories for low tunnel hoop houses that you might find helpful. I realized that as a beginner gardener, learning about gardening, it's quite the learning curve. And so my hope is through these videos is to share all the knowledge I have over the 25-30 years of my gardening and help you shorten your learning curve and make your garden experience a lot more enjoyable. Now, when you use these row covers, I only grow my leafy greens under there because they don't need to pollinate. And so, as I've emphasized before, I usually grow all my brassica plants underneath my row covers. Well, I must say the birds have been active around the garden. This morning I had this catbird. He's just been singing all morning long. I have a house wren, a beautiful, cute little house wren. The house is near my camera, so my camera's picking up all kinds of bird sounds, which is a beautiful thing out here in the garden. Also, if you have any comments or garden questions, please leave them in the comment section below. Well, I hope this was able to answer your question. So until next time, happy gardening. Bye for now.